if Trump views this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change world history, that might give him impetus to be involved.
US politics, which is sort of at the moment also Middle East politics. Thomas Del Baccaro is former chairman of the California Republican Party. Great to have you on, Thomas. Thank you so much for spending the time to talk to me. Lot then on the Middle East in US politics at the moment, and Donald Trump kind of weighing in, suggesting that the US might get involved against Iran. Do you think that's bluster, or do you think he means it?
I think what he's trying to do is tell Iran, if you're ever going to make a deal, now's the time to do it. It seems very unlikely unless Iran actually strikes a U.S. facility that the U.S. would get directly involved.
Because I thought he was the guy who was, I'm not going to send the troops in. I'm just wondering how even suggesting that the US could get involved militarily in what's going on in the Middle East, I wonder how that is playing with other Republicans, is playing with Donald Trump's base.
Yeah, you're right. He has always spoken about that. On the other hand, if Iran is regime change, if the mullahs fall, this would be at the end of last year, by the way, I predicted the two biggest dynamics. In America, the dynamic would be Doge. Internationally, it would be the fall of the Iranian regime. If that were to occur, and it tilted to the West, it would be the biggest dynamic in the last 50 years worldwide, because it would result in an incredible step down in tension around the world. And so if Trump views this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change world history, that might give him impetus to be involved.
But the peaceful option, the deal, the negotiation, that's a bit pie in the sky now, isn't it, really?
It is, unless, look, there's reports out today that either the mullahs have fled or they're all dead or something in that range. Yes, I do think the peace option seems a big stretch. The question is, will the regime fall because there's so few left?
How do you think Donald Trump's support of Israel is steadfast, his support of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu? How do you think that's playing with fellow Republicans?
The Republican Party is a bigger supporter of Israel than the Democrat Party. And the polls here show about 50% of the people think the U.S. position related to Israel right now is the right thing to do. The next elections are about 15 or 16 months away. What's really going to matter is the economy, about starting 7 to 8 months from now, not this particular issue. But if Iran falls, I think it'll be enormously helpful to Trump.
G7 gets underway today in Canada. I'm wondering how Donald Trump will be working with the G7, especially with the fact that it's in Canada. Relations with your northern neighbour not too fantastic at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. The people have been consistently told that there would be trade deals coming, and that promise, along with the economic benefits and his tax package, he has to deliver on that. Republicans have to deliver on that. In the United States, the economy matters. And although he won an election and there was a change in voting patterns, until they deliver on those promises, those voting patterns remain up in the air.
So the UK Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, obviously going to be part of this G7 meeting a little bit later on. What would your advice be to him and to other world leaders on how to handle Donald Trump going into these talks?
Well, at the end of the day, we need to remember that in his first term, Trump did a number of trade deals with Japan, South Korea, and others, and tariffs came down. Lower tariffs worldwide will be beneficial to everyone worldwide. Remember, the UK was it was arguably the largest empire in history, an enormous trading empire, and you became fabulously rich because of that. Trade helps everyone. So if we all can get to this better place in trade, it's better for everyone. So, but when dealing specifically with Trump, the answer is if you come to the table willing to trade for the betterment, he sees that as his personal goal. So if you find that common moment in time, that common issue, then he's easy to deal with. But if there is not that commonality, then it becomes tougher.
Thomas, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for staying up late this evening, or this morning as we are here, to talk to me. Really appreciate it. Thomas Del Baccaro, former chairman of the California Republican Party.